Good morning, everyone. It's Monday, February 8th. From the San Antonio Express News, my name is Luis Vasquez, and this is your Express Briefing. All of the stories you need to know to start your day. You can expect partly sunny skies with a high of 72 degrees in San Antonio today. Tomorrow, the U.S. Senate is set to launch the impeachment trial of Donald Trump. The former president's defenders in the Senate have been rallying around Trump before the trial, dismissing it as a waste of time. Texans donated at least $8.9 million to Trump's campaign in the weeks after the election that he claimed, without evidence, was stolen from him. We have why the actual figures raised in the Stop the Steal campaign is actually much bigger than $8.9 million. And tonight, the Spurs host the Golden State Warriors in the first game of a back-to-back. The challenge for the Spurs during the next two nights will be to somehow find a way to slow Steph Curry, who has been on a roll. And now, let's move on to the top stories for the day. From their clean, well-lit boutiques around San Antonio, Nancy and David Burrow and their team sell all sorts of cannabidol and hemp products. They're the founders of Alamo Botanicals, Texas's first CBD store, and they're on a mission to break down stigmas and educate people about the benefits of the compound derived from the cannabis plant. At the counter, under a shiny Alamo Botanical sign and joined by their 6-year-old son Carter, the Burrows discuss their journey from high school sweethearts at Judson to becoming the king and queen of San Antonio CBD and what the future looks like. Read our Q&A with them in our latest partnership with Report for America. The past 30 months have been grueling for Deanna Jo Sutterfield. Her son Zachary nearly died in a catastrophic apartment fire that someone deliberately set in San Marcos in July of 2018, a still unsolved crime that killed 5 people. Zach, then 20, suffered third-degree burns to almost 70% of his body and a traumatic brain injury. Deanna Sutterfield quit her job and stayed at his side as he received life-saving medical care for 17 months in San Antonio, more than 200 miles from their San Angelo home. She changed his bandages, cleaned his wounds, fed and bathed him, and cheered him on when hope seemed lost. Now, Sutterfield, a mother of 2 and an Army veteran, has been named the 2021 Texas Mother of the Year by the national nonprofit American Mothers. She is among a group of mothers across the country being considered for the national title, which will be awarded in May. Peggy O'Hare has more on the bond between mother and son in her latest article. After fighting for months to see police body cam footage of the fatal encounter between Daryl Zamalt Sr. and officers, his family finally saw the video Friday. Melissa Zamalt Wicker, Zamalt's older daughter, and other family members did not divulge publicly what they saw in the footage, but said they were thankful for the more than 40 people who showed up to support the family during a vigil in Zamalt's name at Main Plaza. You can read more about the effort to gain access to the footage and the vigil on Friday in Jacob Beltran's latest article. For decades, San Antonians have watched the city's public housing stock slowly slip away with the demolitions of Victoria Courts, Mirasol Homes, San Juan Homes, and Wheatley Courts, the last large complex felled by the wrecking ball. But Alazan Courts, the city's oldest and largest complex with 501 apartments, has suddenly been spared a similar fate. The San Antonio Housing Authority had for years planned to work with a for-profit developer to raise and replace the aging Westside complex with mixed-income apartments. But under the direction of a new leader, the agency reversed course in January, pledging to rebuild public housing for the city's most financially vulnerable residents. We have how it happened over on our website. Now that more Texans can receive the coronavirus vaccine, we have everything you need to know about the vaccine in our frequently asked questions page. We also have a dashboard monitoring how much of the state has been vaccinated, and another dashboard where we're tracking San Antonio's COVID-19 case counts, hospitalizations, positivity rates, and more. Next up are your need-to-know headlines. You can find all of these headlines and more inside of your Express News subscription. All 3 coronavirus-related deaths reported Sunday were the fewest since January 17th, but officials also added 150 deaths that had not previously been confirmed as caused by COVID-19. The death toll in Bexar County now stands at 2,361. Under investigation by the FBI and facing calls to resign, Texas Attorney General Ken Paxton now has the Texas legislature to worry about. State lawmakers have rolled out an initial state budget that would slash his request for funding and eliminate more than 150 positions from his office. A 6-year-old boy and a man in his 20s were shot at an outdoor church event on San Antonio's east side on Sunday, police said. We have everything you need to know about that over at expressnews.com. The ex-wife of Carlos Uresti, the disgraced former state senator now behind bars, has sued a San Antonio adult nightclub for allegedly using her photo to promote the business on Facebook. The push to take away collective bargaining rights of San Antonio police officers at the May ballot box is unexpectedly pitting progressive against progressive. This is why the San Antonio Central Labor Council is gearing up to oppose the measure. At least 3 tenants are facing removal from their Eastside apartment complex despite an ongoing moratorium on evictions during the coronavirus pandemic. The tenants, all Honduran immigrants, gathered Sunday to describe their precarious situation. Former UTSA defensive coordinator Tyron Nix was found through a Title IX hearing to have made repeated comments about the appearance of a student trainer. The football coach's contract expires this month, and UTSA has said it will not be renewed. A European investment firm is in talks to acquire a minority stake in the Spurs. We have everything you need to know about CVC Capital Partners of Luxembourg and what the sale could mean for the future of the Spurs. Long-awaited figures released by CPS Energy on Friday showed that the ratepayers would pay between $6 and $12 extra on their monthly bills if the utility either mothballs the coal-fired Spruce power plant or converts it to natural gas. San Antonians have donated more than $60,000 for a local 4th grader who died days after testing positive for the coronavirus. Now, the family of Mackenzie Gongora is urging others to recognize that COVID-19 can kill children as well as adults. This week, the Archdiocese of San Antonio said in a statement that it plans to update its 2019 list. Its statement didn't say when or how the Archdiocese plans to release new or updated information on credibly accused priests. Read Elena Ayala's latest for more. A post-election report from Trump's pollsters showed that the former president was out of step with Americans on the coronavirus. Columnist Gilbert Garcia breaks down the 2020 election post-mortem in his latest column. The Express News editorial board writes, quote, "Tardiness in data collection has been a consistent trait of the state at every stage of the pandemic, including what should be the most triumphant stage of dealing with a pandemic, vaccination." Business columnist Michael Taylor on the fallout from the GameStop stock saga. Robinhood isn't the plucky good guy. Shorts aren't the bad guy. Inflation is probably here, and this is how we're seeing it. Read his column over at expressnews.com. This week in history, on February 15th, 1997, around 100 people tied the knot on Valentine's Day in 3 mass wedding ceremonies in San Antonio. Every year in San Antonio, this fun tradition of getting married alongside other couples takes place on the Bexar County Courthouse steps. Read more about this tradition, which has been taking place in San Antonio since 1989. Cancellations of major rodeos in Fort Worth, Denver, and Houston already this year didn't sit well with Cody DeMoss. After a 2020 season shortened by the coronavirus pandemic, the loss of 3 major rodeos in 2021 were hard blows for the veteran saddle bronc rider from Heflin, Louisiana. When told there were calls from some public officials, led by County Judge Nelson Wolf, to postpone the popular San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo, set to begin next week at the Freeman Coliseum, DeMoss couldn't hide his displeasure, a feeling he felt down to his boots. "It's like a big kick in the groin," he said. "I don't know who the elected officials are down there, but this whole thing is a load of crap. It's political and it's bullshit." Read what other cowboys said about the San Antonio Rodeo in John Whistler's latest article. When Kristen and Clay Hefty decided to turn their two-story duplex on Allensworth Street near Mackney Park into a short-term Airbnb rental, they knew they didn't want the apartments, one upstairs and one down, to look like any other in the city. Read more about the property's redesign in Richard Marini's latest story. When "aw hell no" is one of the heat levels, you know it's going to be good and really hot. Check out a review of Pete's Chicken Shack in our 52 Weeks of Food Truck series. Winter weeds or sustainable winter lawn? It's about perspective, writes Calvin Finch. And in his down-to-earth column, Neil Sperry addresses azaleas, the best use for dwarf mondgrass, whether ivy hurts your walls, and more. If you have a little leftover cilantro, Paul's cooking tips this week shows you how to use it to jazz up eggs, rice, and even smoothies. The NCAA confirmed that the full 2021 NCAA Division I Women's Basketball Tournament will be held in San Antonio, marking the biggest event in the city since the COVID-19 pandemic took hold last March. And that's all for today. This was your Express Briefing for Monday, February 8th. My name is Luis Vasquez. Please consider becoming an Express News subscriber to get in-depth coverage on all the stories you heard today. Also, be sure to rate and review this podcast inside of your Apple Podcast app, as it really helps the show. Have a wonderful week, everyone.